Hello, welcome to the Drumbeat, where we beat the drum to awaken the African church to its global mission mandate. Today we have a guest all the way from Naperville, Illinois, USA. Welcome, Pastor Tim Loar from Calvary Church. He's a missions pastor of Calvary Church in Naperville, in the state of Illinois, in the United States of America. Good to have you in Ghana. Is it first time in Ghana?
It is my first time in Ghana, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. I'm going to ask you what your impression is so far. And then we have Mr. Acqaah. He works with us at One Way. He's deputy director. He's also training director. And he worked with the ministry where he was more involved in short-term missions. Is that right?
Yes, that's true.
Many years. So we want to talk about short-term missions today. Short-term missions, amazing. I love short-term missions. There's some criticism, there's some people for it, some people against it. I'm for it. And I'm seeing God use it in amazing ways. So today we want to talk about everything about short-term missions that we can talk about. But really it's one of the ways to fulfill the Great Commission.
Yeah.
Everybody on the field. Yeah, I love it. So welcome to the Drumbeat. Pastor Tim, welcome to Ghana.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell me your first impressions of Ghana.
It's a wonderful place.
Okay, praise God.
Such friendly people.
Okay.
Just incredible ministry happening here.
Wow.
So thank you for allowing me to come.
Good to have you. I'm so glad you could make it. Pastor Tim is an action man. We went to Naperville and we started talking and said, 2nd December, he fixed a date and it's here.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Tell us a little about yourself. I understand you were a worship pastor and now a missions pastor. Tell us a little about your
So
background.
for most of my ministry time, I was a music pastor.
Okay.
Over the last 5 years, I transitioned out of leading the whole music department into leading missions.
Wow.
I also oversee all of our 55 plus people at our church. So the older congregation, and I'm also involved in pastoral care.
Wow.
Our church hospital visits, that sort of thing.
Yeah, busy man.
But missions is the heartbeat of our church.
Yeah.
Since the very beginning of our church, we've believed in missions, and
Wow.
short-term missions is a huge part of that.
I'm happy to hear that. I believe for a church trying to be missional and wanting to be involved in global missions and world evangelization, they cannot do without short-term missions. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. For sure. I think engaging people in a Great Commission, one of those words is go.
Yes.
And the only way to go is to go.
I like that. The only way to go is to go.
Yeah.
I love that. So if you're a church, you're a pastor listening to us, watching us today, I challenge you, as we see churches in Africa, short-term missions is not a common thing, unfortunately. Only few churches are doing it. Would you agree? Only few churches are doing it.
Yes, I think that very few churches are liking the idea of short-term missions, and it's usually relegated to young people, students, campus, and it stays there. So I think it's something we really need to consider.
Yeah, it's true. Mostly it's the university campuses.
Yes.
The Ghana Evangelical Fellowship, Ghana Fellowship of
Evangelical students, yes.
They do that a lot. They go on site, student in church evangelism. So
yes.
when I preach in churches, and other people come to, when we're in the university, we used to do missions.
Yeah.
So people see it as something that you do when you're on the university campus, and after they forget, because mostly churches are not involved in short term. So before we go to the American experience, what has been your experience in Ghana and Africa?
Wow, so short-term missions has been, like you said earlier, many people talk down on short-term missions. They'll say, I did a little research on short-term missions, I think a year ago, and I found out that the main challenges have been money.
Okay.
It costs too much, and they'll say the impact is not really felt, and they prefer to sponsor a long-term missionary than to pay for short-term missionaries.
Yeah.
But over my little experience, I've seen that short-term missions is a blessing. The first is that it gives many people the opportunity to get involved in going, like Pastor Tim said. Not everybody can go as a long-term missionary, but everybody can go as a short-term missionary.
Not everybody can go as a long-term missionary, but everybody can go on the short-term missionary.
It's from 1 week to 2 weeks to 5 days, just getting your church members, your students, your campus ministry, transporting them to a place to experience the mission ground is a big blessing. And what I've seen is that when the short-term missionaries arrive, they boost the work of the long-term missionaries.
Yeah.
They come with all the energy.
Yeah.
They are not too calculated.
Yeah.
I mean, it has its issues, yes, but they come with the energy, the ideas, and they advance the work of the long-term missionary on the field. And over my little experience of going around in Africa, Angola seems to be like my best story.
Okay.
And because we tried what we call consistent short-term missions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, consistent short-term missions, we thought, okay, if everybody is saying, short-term missions, we don't see what's happening. What about we go short-term missions to the same place for a long period of time? Consistently. So for the past 6 years, we've been to Angola like four of those years. And every time, same people, same place, same nation. And the testimonies are tremendous. It's mind-blowing that we went there first in 2018.
Okay.
And fast forward now, the nation is developing their own missions association. When we got there, it was not a story to talk about. The churches were doing their own things, but from that time till now, they're having their own missions associations, new missions agents are being born, churches are doing evangelism, and it's just because we kept going, and they kept seeing us. Why do you guys come here? You're Africans, you're just like us. Oh, we are coming for short-term missions. Okay, what are you talking about? They will begin to tell them the things the church needs to be doing, getting involved. They see us traveling hours, 12 hours, 24 hours across their nation, just share the gospel. And that alone challenges the team on the ground. And they're like, okay, so if these guys are traveling from Ghana to come here to do this, then we need to get involved. And so I've seen that short-term missions boost the local church, it boosts the work of the missionaries. And also, many souls are won when you go for short-term missions. Many souls are won when you go for short-term. So I think it's a really great part of the work that as an African church, we can explore. And we are not too poor to go on short-term missions. We can go a few miles away in Ghana. I've traveled all around the north for short-term missions. You can go to Togo. You can just go a few hours away from your hometown, and you'll be on a short-term mission trip. But if we think only money is going to cost us this much, we'll not move. But if we keep going, we keep consistently engaging the people, we keep sending our people, realize that people will be more open to get the job done. So I think it's a place for all of us to get involved. You can be a short-term missionary. No matter what you are doing, just take 1 week, 2 weeks off your calendar, and you can be a short-term missionary.
I love that. You can be a short-term missionary. We'll narrow down to that when we come back. No matter your profession, no matter what you're doing, you can take a week off, your leave, your busy schedule, So we're going to come to that, but thank you for sharing. Very, very encouraging. Pastor Tim, what has been your experience in the short-term mission? He's speaking some very positives about it.
So from our church perspective, we believe in short-term missions. We've taken 13 trips this year.
Wow.
10 of those,
13. Wow.
In 1 year.
And 10 of those have been international trips. 3 of them have been local trips.
Wow. So you've doubled.
4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
And so the benefits of short-term missions, we pray that it's a benefit to the places we're going, obviously. But as a pastor in a church, I've seen life change in the people that have gone on the trip. So I encourage everyone in our church to go on a mission trip. It changed their life. We in America kind of get in a bubble. We think that everybody thinks like us. Everybody does everything like us, and that's not the case. And it's good for, speaking as Americans, it's good for us to get outside of our American bubble and see the rest of the world and get a different perspective on Christianity. And so this year, our church, we've had 120 people go on.
Wow. That's a good.
And so it's not just about numbers, it's about seeing life change. I could point to several, many people who've had just extreme life changes on a trip. Not only that, they develop relationship on a missions trip. It's like the most intense small group you could ever have, because you're working together and you're praying together and you're crying together and you're getting sick together sometimes. And there's just so much life change that happens. And then when people come back from a missions trip, they engage more in the local church where they're at.
So become more active in the local church.
Because they've been engaged in this missionary idea. And I think I can not only do this when I'm in Peru, but I can do this when I'm in Naperville. And so the benefit of a short-term trip, I think it goes both ways.
Michael Thompson is present one way. He said something that people grow when people go. That's what he said. When they go, their lives are transformed. And when they come back, it impacts their local church too. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying,
Awesome. So looking at your church, you challenge everybody to go, and you have multiple trips. I like that. So can you share more about that? like almost every month you have a trip, so people can plug in. Maybe this month doesn't work, but another month where this country doesn't work, so it can be far or near.
Just want to give lots of options to people because sometimes somebody might really connect with a certain location. Last year we went to Kenya. This year we went to Kenya. Okay. We're going again next year. Okay. I like the idea of going back to places. Yeah. I do that a lot. Okay. But there were people, it was their dream. Yeah. It was their dream to go to Kenya. Yeah. Some African Americans in our church. It was their dream to go to Kenya. Okay. Now, not only can they fulfill that dream, they can do it with a purpose and a mission. Right. And it was powerful to see that connection and to see what happened on that trip. We took trips to Europe. We took trips to Africa. We took trips to Asia. I went a lot of different types of trips. Okay. We had some construction trips. We had evangelism trips. And we had some prayer trips. Because I want to give a full range of trips so that I can engage the most people. We had some trips that were just for youth. Some of them were geared just for women. Okay. Some that were just for young adults.
I see. I like that. So there's something for everyone. Yeah. I like that. That's a new aspect. I'm not aware of that. So you have some comes for construction, some for maybe kids, orphanages, some for evangelism and different.
And also medical trips.
Medical missions. So people can use their professions and careers and gifts. Right. Medical field. Amazing. That's amazing. Wow. We will come back after the break and we're going to talk more about the impact of short-term missions. You've been watching the Drumbeat.
The Phillips Center North is a Great Commission center located in the heart of the northern region. Imagine a place dedicated to training, equipping, and mobilizing young men and women from unreached people groups to reach their own people with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Currently, there are 2 batches of young men and women being trained as missionaries. These young men are willing to go to places where you and I have not been able to go. Would you consider today being a part of what God is doing?
Welcome back to the Drumbeat. My guest are Pastor Tim Loar, all the way from Calvary Church in Naperville, USA. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And Mr. Acqaah of One Way Africa. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Atu, so you used to work with a ministry called SLA Youth Outreach, and I know on record that they took young people on short-term mission trips to about 20-something countries.
Yes, actually they hit 30.
Almost 30.
Yeah, almost 30 countries.
Tell us about that. Was very new for Africans. Yeah. What happened?
That was a season of, I think, explosion for the ministry. Okay. And even before I enter into that story, Pastor Tim mentioned something earlier about, and you also said that people grow when they go. My first trip was in senior high school. Okay. I was in Cape Coast mission trip. I was in Cape Coast, went to a village nearby called Asebo. Also very close. It doesn't have to be far away, very close. Oh. Now, it shocked me, because I was a Christian. I was actually a Christian group leader. And I went for this trip for the first time. And here I am many years later. Because I met one 80-year-old woman who had never heard about Jesus. My mind was blown because I was 15 years, she was 80 years. I knew Jesus. I thought everybody in the world knew Jesus like me. And so to hear that, we live in a bubble, I think it's not just Americans. I think it's also Africans. Yeah. Now, moving to EYO's story, I think that was one of the greatest things that happened to us as young people on campus. So the ministry opened the doors for different students to have the chance to go for short-term mission trip. And they had different scouting teams, check different nations. And most of them were just out of faith. So they arranged different nations up. And then you sign up as a young person. You go through the process of raising funds, which in itself is a whole growth experience. You get rejected by people. You get people saying, okay, we'll give you and don't give. All that experience. And then we actually hop on a plane. For some of us, it was our first time sitting on the aeroplane. So my first trip to Gambia, I was shaking because I was wondering whether we were really going to touch down or not. I got air sick for the first time. I never knew there was anything called air sick. I couldn't breathe properly. I mean, it's a very terrible experience. But when I landed, I was this tiny little boy, and they thought I was 13 years old. But
are you then?
how old was I? I was like 18. But they thought I was 13 years. And we were wondering whose son had come along on the trip. funny story. But I think that period of giving young people the chance, and even it was beyond young people, it was workers. Yeah. They took their leave, and we planned like a year ahead. Okay. So the nations are listed, like gives people 1 year notice to plan. The dates are always set in July to August. Yeah. You know, you're going to go from 11th July. So people take leave 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then they begin to plan and ask God, which nation should I go to? Okay. And then we raise the funds together, and then we go to the field and do different things, every country, and what happens. We run camps in some countries. We had schools outreaches in some countries. We taught in primary schools. We slept in villages. We rode on ferries. Just different activities you could find to do. But it was just this excitement to join God on his mission in another African country. Yeah. And the stories were always, we thought it was only white people who come as missionaries. That's what they said. That's what they always tell us. Like, what are you doing here? Who is paying for you? Who is sending you? And I think just that part of seeing young people, there's a story in Uganda, if I may share. We sent 2 young men to Uganda, and one of the pastors, they made them meet the young people. And so they did a very small ministry and left. Now, 2 months later, the pastor calls the officer and says, those 2 guys changed our youth ministry. And we asked them, like, what do you do? They're like, oh, nothing. There's young people just asked them, where are you coming from? What are you doing here? Oh, we are from Ghana. Why are you here? We came on missions. And for the young people in Uganda, that's upset. Why do you leave your country? You're just like me. What are you doing here? We thought it was white guys who do these things. And the pastor said just that the testimony changed their youth ministry completely. You know, the young people are now more active in church. Yeah. They also organize their own mission trip to another place. So there are many blessings in actually moving out and going with your team. Yes.
There are many blessings in actually moving out and going with your team. Get ready. Start packing your things. If you don't have a passport, start getting your passport. Okay. Yeah. So mostly it's Americans and Europeans who have been going out. So this is like new. So people say, what are you doing, African? So that was a very good thing you did. But I don't know if you have the statistics. Before COVID, I know they said about 2 million to 3 million Americans were going out on short-term missions every year. But it was massive. I know whole ministries like my friend was working at Adventures in Missions, which was all built on short-term missions. And I'm trying to remember if we hosted things. But they used to go out in droves. Even our friend at Love Botswana, they used to host hundreds every year, you know. So short-term mission thing is big in America, and it's really impacted missions in America. Can you speak to that and how it is now, and our church is still going after COVID and how things?
I do think COVID changed a lot of things. People were afraid to travel internationally. There's still a lot of fear. I think you see a lot of masks on planes, and I do think people are afraid, but I do think it's kind of opening up again. But I think just all the technology that happened during COVID has opened up more doors. That it's not as necessary sometimes to go when you can have the videos to do that online thing. So I think that probably has shifted it some. It hasn't for our church. We still believe in the long
life on life.
When you stop doing something, it's hard to start it again. So churches that stopped doing mission trips for 2 or 3 years, it's been hard for them to. But I'm part of a group of missions pastors, and we talk about these things.
I see.
And there are many churches that are getting re-engaged in trips.
Wow.
And with a purpose too.
I like that. I want to go to the other side, and we'll come back to this side and we'll wrap up. Okay. So, those who criticize, what are some of the maybe negative things that have happened in the past, and that people wanting to do short-term missions can avoid those traps, those blunders? What are some of the things that people say didn't go well, and so they don't like short-term missions?
Well, I think one of the traps is that we as Americans just go and bring things. And we really want to go and build up a community, not just come and deliver
handouts and just
and then we don't want to go and paint a wall for the 6th time. The previous mission trip, people just came and painted, come and paint it again. So we want to make sure if we're going on a trip that it has value for, and we're changing the thermostat, not just the temperature.
Okay, I like that. Say that again.
We're changing the thermostat, not just the temperature.
Wow. Can you explain it for the sake of our viewers?
So when you change the thermostat, it's a change that lasts for a long time. If you just change the temperature, it can go up and down. But it's something
you're looking at short-term, so we go long-term impact.
So we go and we dig a well. That lasts long after.
We
go and do a medical clinic and we diagnose somebody's illness. and we change their reality that extends. So we want to do things that extend long past.
Okay.
Of course, we do have felt needs too. So of course we'll bring food, do things, but we want to focus on things that bring long-term change, not just short-term.
So even though it's short-term, it can have a long-term impact.
Yeah.
And that's what you should for. I like that. That's powerful. One church that used to come to Ghana, I think they still come, Lake Point Church, is a good example. There are thousands of members and they get almost everybody out. Good example, they get almost everybody out every year. And they come to Ghana 2 times. And I remember Dr. Jim, he's maybe in the 70s, and he could do surgery anywhere.
Wow.
So short term, they come like 1 week do medical missions, but they will refer people who have surgery needs, and he will do surgeries, but and they'll pay for them to be done, but the empire has been.
And that's changing the thermostat.
I like that, changing the thermostat. Did you see that? To change thermostat or let's change the temperature?
So when we also went short term, we tried our best, like he said. Yeah. Well, we couldn't give handouts, so it was not part of our plans anyways. But we're always going in for, when we have a short trip, we do evangelism, but we always try to focus on the church. Because one thing we realized was that we could go do the evangelism, preaching on the streets and come back, change something little. But when we activate the church on the ground to get involved in evangelism, then we are changing something that's going to last. And so
we're
mobilized. We put mobilization on the top of our list. So we go in there, get into a church, get to move along with them and try and leave the DNA of what we just did with them. That was our plan in many places. So I was in Namibia for the first time. We didn't know anybody, we were going there. Yeah. But as soon as we arrived, we are looking for a church, we're looking for a campus ministry. People we can connect with instead of just going there and just go preach on the streets because we could speak English and just say, we want 500 souls and come back and be happy. We do that, but then we're always looking for a church or a ministry to plug in and then change the thermostat, if I'm going to steal your words, and then leave them to affect the temperature in the country for a long time.
And so we succeeded.
Angola is like one of our perfect stories. We have stories also in Kenya where we affected 1 church, 2 churches, and now the church has become so missional. But Angola is like
How about Uganda too?
Uganda also, where we have this happening. In Gambia, it's a whole different story. I was in Gambia for 3 years continuous.
Okay.
And many things have changed in Gambia. Even a friend of mine went to Gambia as a missionary. Okay. And there are many churches, many ministries that have even come up out of the people we met our first camp. And now you realize that they are now taking up missions. Okay. And 3 years ago, young people from Gambia went for missions in Senegal. And these are young people I knew. I even went to that trip with them. So that's what we try to do. We go do the evangelism, but we try to activate the church also so they can keep going, so that it doesn't die with our presence. Yes.
Short-term trip, a long-term impact. I like that.
I have a story that goes along with that. So our churches the last 2 years have gone to Lima, Peru, and have done medical clinics, 4 of them outside of the outskirts of Lima, which is extremely impoverished. Yeah. And so we partnered with 4 different churches. And so we didn't go as Calvary Church, we went as that local church. Wow. Our name was never on anything. It was that local church. So the first year we went, we helped a woman with her medical condition. Okay. The next year we went, she was at that church volunteering in our clinic.
Wow.
That was an amazing thing to see somebody that actually had life change and engaged in the church. Yeah.
That's beautiful. These are beautiful stories of short term. I'll take a few more stories. What are some of the other life transforming stories that you've seen?
Well, there was one young man in Gambia. So my first trip in Gambia, we ran a camp. Okay. I had a whole story to it. Our team was delayed. Our main speaker was Pastor Crawford. He didn't make it. And so it was like, your main speaker didn't come. Okay. And so we just ran the trip. I remember at Manful, Kate, Mary, Luca, and myself, 5. We were supposed to have been 10. Now 5 people ran the whole campaign. We would sit down in the evening and say, come on, guys. The team should come because we are tired. But now fast forward, we met one young Muslim guy who gave his life to Christ. Through the camp, he got discipled a little bit. And we followed up. Like I said, we kept going. Now, 5 years down the line, he becomes the head of a ministry. Oh, wow. Now, savage. He becomes the head of a ministry, of a youth ministry. Really? And he led the team that went on missions to Senegal. Praise the Lord. So I realized that, it's short-term can have long-term impact if we think that way. Yeah, if we keep praying that the Lord should use the little efforts we are doing, it's because a ripple effect that will last for the whole ocean. Yeah.
So you're saying short-term missions can have a long-term, but if we plan that way and we have that goal for long-term, but any more stories from
There's so many. It's hard to. One that sticks out in my mind is we took a team to Romania, and we were in a Roma community, and the Roma people are just very looked down upon in all of Eastern Europe. And we chose two women. They're in their mid 80s. They live in a one room house about the size of the studio. And they had we decided to go in and completely renovate their house. So we took everything out. Painted everything, put in new floors. And so this was us giving things, but it was also changing her reality. So after we were finished, we invited them to go to dinner with us. And this woman was 89 years old. And she said she had never been in a restaurant in her entire life. And so we were able to bring her to a restaurant. And so it doesn't matter if you're ministering to kids or somebody in their 80s. You can change somebody's reality. And her testimony then to her neighbors. And it was just a powerful moment.
Wow. I love that. The opportunity that you can go to the nations all over just with teams. It's amazing. Okay, you've been watching the Drumbeat. We're going on another break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up. I'm so excited about the impact of short-term missions. I believe you're excited. And if you're a pastor, you're getting your team ready, you're getting your youth ready, getting your women's group ready, get your men's group, even the children ministry, get ready. It's one way to connect to the Great Commission. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Drumbeat. We've been talking about short-term missions and its impact, and we've talked about both the good, the bad, and ugly, the challenges in the past, but we've seen that all those things can be corrected. They don't throw the baby with the dirty water. They have been challenging with short-term missions. My guests are saying it's one of the ways that God is using to fulfill the Great Commission. I like what Thibault said. It says, not everybody can be a long-term missionary, but everybody can be a short-term missionary. You gotta go. How do you go? Go on a short-term. It can be your Jerusalem, your Judea, your Samaria, and the rest of that. And you know something? I was talking to John Fletcher of Pioneers, and he said, I was in his office in Orlando, Florida, and he said, in the history of Pioneers, 40% of people who go on short-term missions with Pioneers end up in long-term ministry. I was thinking, wow, that's a lot. So if for every 100 young people who go on short-term missions, 40 end up in long-term missionaries. How can you criticize short-term missions? That's something. Where do your long-term missionaries come from? Most will come from short-term mission trips. So, Pastor Tim, speak to the camera. Look into the camera and speak to a pastor. It's new, like Acqaah was saying, many churches in Africa, it's very new. But speak. Americans have been doing it for years. But speak to the church. Somebody is working from Asia, from Latin America. Speak to them.
So if we're going to fulfill the Great Commission, we have to go. And I feel like people feel like they're sitting at a red light in a car. And you don't go until the light turns green. What I want to tell you is the light is already green. The Lord has told us to go. So we're sitting at a green light. Now all we need to do is step on the gas.
I like that. Step on the gas and go, in the red light, in the green light. I like that. What will be your words?
I think that my challenge to everybody will be, let's stop giving yourself the excuses. People will tell you, we've not finished the work in Ghana. Why are you going somewhere? Those are all excuses, my brothers and sisters. Get up, pack your bags. Let's go on a trip. In fact, if you're ready to go tomorrow, call me and let's hook you up on a trip. I tell you, when you get that short-term missions adrenaline in your blood, you don't want anything else. It's a whole different experience and a feeling. And so let's stand up, let's rise up, and let's go.
Stand up, let's rise up and go. I see people. Africans are going for holidays now. We didn't used to do that. People are going to the Maldives, going to Mauritius, going to Dubai.
Zanzibar, traveling all around.
There are a lot of YouTube. You can use that. You can use that for your mission trip. If you could do that, you could save up and go on a mission trip. So there are ministries that do short-term mission trips, and we'll have a link at the bottom. You can link up with us. But it is very possible. It could be next door. It could be in your own country. It could be far. But you're gonna go. Everybody's gonna go. Is that right, Pastor? Everybody's gonna go. It's a green light. It's a great step on it. Wow, it's been awesome. This is the Drumbeat. I've been talking to Pastor Tim Loar from Calvary Church in Naperville, USA, and Mr. Acqaah Acqaah of One Way Africa. Thank you, gentlemen. This was an amazing time. We will have to do
Thank you so
some shine, but shut the music. I'm crazy for it. Let's do it.
No, thank you.